What's going on YouTube? Today I want to talk to you about building this star with only a saw that goes up to 45 degrees. My name's Andy, this is Cedar River Woodworking, and welcome to the show. Now, if you have been around this channel, you have seen these stars that we made not too long ago. This is using a 54-degree angled cut. Well, there's a lot of saws out there that only go to 45 degrees. And I had a lot of questions on how we can do that with only a 45-degree angle cut. I want to thank Richard Keller for giving me some suggestions on how we can make one like this with 45-degree angle cuts. There are a couple slight differences. So you can see on this 54 that we have some flat tops here, and on the 45 they slightly go down. Now, it's not that big of a difference, but if it's something that you like, that aesthetic where it's straight across, you may want to go with the 54-degree angle star. But before we get down to the saws, I just want to thank all of our members that have been a part of this channel, that they really help us out in that aspect, and they will help fund some of the future projects and giveaways that we have coming up. So if you do like the channel quite a bit and you want to help in that aspect, please consider being a member. But everybody, if you want to and you're enjoying the videos, please consider subscribing as well. So let's get down to the saws and I'll show you exactly how we make this star. So here we are over at the miter saw. What we're going to do to start this project is set our saw to 45 degrees. My saw does have a detent at 45, and if your saws are tuned in how they should be and you have very good angle control with those stops, those are a great way to do this. If you need to tune in your saw, I will have a video out for that here soon. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the end off of a 2x4. I have a piece of scrap 2x4 here. You'll need about 48 inches for this, and that's going to leave a little bit of scrap left over. But if you have a bunch of 2x4s laying around, that can give you a nice rustic look as well. So I'm going to cut the end off of here. Then I'm going to measure 9 inches from the point of that cut. And with my offcut, I can draw out a line there just so I know what that might look like as I'm lining up my saw. Now with this, we can get that all lined up, and we can put a stop block in here, and at that point in time you don't have to measure this again. So with a stop block in here, make sure that your saw has completely stopped before raising the saw blade back up, because you can get a bind which will cause a kickback that could throw wood at you or could damage your saw really badly. So how we're going to do that, I'm just going to make this cut here at 9 inches. And there we let the saw stop, raise it up, and you're going to have a parallelogram. So what I mean by a parallelogram is that the angles are parallel to each other. We are going to cut 3 of these. Put it up to your stop, make your cut. There's 2, and there is 3. Just to show you, this is some scrap wood. Got a screw hole right here. So the next thing that we are going to do is we will measure this long edge right here, and we're about 4 7/8 right there, and this could be 4 3/4, 4 7/8. That'll be fine, but we're going to match that angle, and we're going to measure from the tip here that same distance on here. So what this is going to do is going to show us where we need to cut our next angle. Now our next angle is going to be 31.5 degrees. I do also have a solid stop for that. It's actually 31.6. This can affect how everything fits together, so I'd use that as a caution. So I'm going to set that in place, and then I'm going to line up my saw with that mark that I just made. Now, with some of my offcut here, I'm going to use that to butt that piece against. This is going to hold it in place, so then this will actually hold everything together so that I won't get any kickbacks, and it'll hold it securely as I cut. So I'm going to make this cut here. And then we're going to have two of those pieces. The one that I just cut, I'm just going to flip it over and make another cut. So this will give us a diamond shape like this. This will give us the 5 points of our star. So the other side of that, because we had a parallelogram, is also going to fit into that little holder there, and we're going to make the same two cuts. There's two of them. Then we are going to repeat the process on the other two pieces that we have here. I imagine there are some of you doing some math over there that each one of these pieces makes two of these little diamonds. So that means that we're going to get 6 diamonds total. We have a 5-point star, so that means you're going to have 1 left over. If you're making these in bulk, that is a helpful thing, because that means every 5th one that you make, you'll get a 6th star free. So here's our 6th one, and before we jump down to the bench, I just want to thank everybody for making it this far in the video. If you're enjoying these DIY videos or the content that we've put out on the channel so far, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button. Let's jump down on the bench and I will show you exactly how to assemble this star. So here we are over at the bench to assemble the star. Off camera, I did put a chamfer on the outside edges of this. It helps bring some separation to the center parts of the star and give some depth and detail to it. I will show you that in a close-up here in a minute. So I have this set up shaped like a star, just like this. Now how we are going to assemble this all together is the Craig pocket hole system. Easiest way for me to describe how I put it together is I take the points of the star and I just put them in here at the same angle. So this way I've got the long side facing up this direction. If I make all of these diamond pieces so that this long point faces to my right, it'd be your left, I believe. And I do it that way. Then we're gonna have it so it all the screws go in the same direction. So I'm going to use the 2 side of this. So I have 2 screws going into here to help secure everything together. So clamp that down. I do have this set up to the 1.5" setting. My drill bit set up for the 1.5" setting, and we'll be using 2.5" Craig screws. We're going to use 2 screws on this. It just helps so that everything does not rotate out of the way and keeps everything a lot more secure that way. if you don't have any of these tools, that is completely okay. I will have links in the video description below so that you can locate all of these tools and purchase them if you need to. And that one's already done. So now we are going to assemble all of this together. Easiest way to do that is flip everything over. And then we're going to take it to the edge of our bench here and clamp it together. So clamping it together is going to ensure that everything is all on the same plane as each other and that nothing moves around as you're tightening these screws. So all you're going to do is line these up in the very center and screw everything together. Should be a fairly simple process. Remember, we're using 2 screws on each one of these. All right, the final one. And this is the point where you will see if you need to tune in your saw or not. If there are some gaps in here, you can loosen up a couple of the other screws so that it loosens the gap all the way across and distributes that gap across all 5 points instead of just in one gap. So this is the last point that we're going to put on here, but it's not the last 2 screws. Remember, you need to have the last 2 screws in here too. So we have 4 more screws left. And this should be our last joint. Now we have one 5-point star assembled. Alrighty, so that is how you make your 45-degree angled star. If you made it this far in the video and you have any questions, please let me know down in the comment section below if you would like the 54-degree angle star or the 45-degree angle star better, and then give me your question, and then I know that you have made it this far into the video. Anyways, this has been pretty fun to do. And again, thank you, Richard, for helping me figure this out and giving me the suggestions on how to make these cuts. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing. And for now, my name has been Andy. This has been Cedar River Woodworking. We'll see you in the next video.